Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking time to come and join me this evening. This is going to be a great show. We are going to try to keep it semi clean and not cause any violations with social media. By the way, we are going to E360 TV. This is on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple, and Android TV. You are in the right place. Um if you're not, you can change the channel. But I think you're in the right place because you don't leave yet. The point is, you might miss something that you really do want to hear. That's what we try and do. This is a leadership series. I have Christopher Rausch this evening. He is so awesome. I've known him for several years. I'm blessed that he is on the show tonight. He's going to help educate us because that's what the show is all about, is education, helping people learn, grow, and apply these principles to their life so that you can enjoy your everyday life. It is leadership for empowerment. We love it. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring our special guest on right now, and his name is Christopher Rausch.
Christopher Rausch, welcome. What's going on, Stephen, man? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this conversation. It's long overdue, and I'm excited to see what you ask me tonight.
I'm really glad because it was kind of last minute. And I was going to get you on the show because I love your content, Christopher. We talked.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I
love doing
wanted you to be my mentor, because you're that smart.
Any day.
My
application only.
So yeah, it's just a matter of trying to juggle all my responsibilities because I got so many. So that's where we need you, the volunteer, to help me out because I do all this. I'm not only the founder. I'm the president. I'm the media guy. You name it. I'm doing it. Production, producer. I do it all. So I need somebody's help. If you're willing to reach out, I'm willing to listen.
Anytime you can. I don't volunteer. I get paid for what I do, but absolutely, I'm always here to help, dude.
Well, that's the important factor, but volunteers don't get paid.
Yeah, I know. I volunteer I'm on the board of directors for Help Heal Humanity. It's an amazing organization, nonprofit organization, helphealhumanity.org. Phenomenal organization. I've been volunteering my time there for since the start of COVID. I think they started a USA branch, and so I'm on there. I volunteer my time at Olive Crest Children's Home. I mentor at-risk kids. I used to volunteer my time for the Corona Police Department. Yeah, I volunteer all the time. Homeless organizations, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, what is this? I don't do it unless I get paid. Thing.
No. My coaching and stuff like that. No, I volunteer all of this.
Yeah, I get that part.
Yeah. My family, man.
And so it's been a few days since we've actually had a real face-to-face conversation, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, the older I get, the worse my memory gets. It's pretty ridiculous. Like I'll be scrolling through Netflix. I'm like, oh, let's watch this. And she goes, we watched it a couple of weeks ago. It absolutely does not look familiar. It's like, if it is not music or my business or being a dad, I forget it. Like, oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that? I'm like, nope. But if you ask me a song lyric to a song from 1962, no problem.
A little bit of an audio file, huh?
Yeah. I mean, look at that. I mean, this all this music. I mean, this is actually my studio. I've got 13 guitars, a full-size keyboard, recording equipment. I've got all sorts of stuff. Music. Right. I love music.
I'm going to make a deal with you if you'll listen to me and say, Steve, I'd love to do that for you. Will you come back? Because I do want to have you back. I can't believe I waited this long to have you. But come back and play some music for us, because I don't know if you saw our last one a couple of weeks ago. We had a drummer on, and he's really an awesome guy. You probably even know him.
What's his name?
Thinking of his name, Jamie Gailey. Yeah, Gailey. Jamie.
Doesn't ring a bell, but I love music. I'm not a very good musician. That's why I went into motivational speaking and life coaching. I mean, speaking from a stage and using my words to change the audience's emotions. Same thing as an artist, but my talent didn't really lie there. But however, I have renewed my passion for improving my singing again. So I'm going to be working on my singing. So who knows? I might do some covers and release some covers of music. And who knows?
Maybe there you go. All right. we'll plan maybe to talk you out of doing a little bit of music for us too.
Sure.
Because this is a kind of all-around show, but the idea of this show, as you well know, is empowerment. That is my one word. That was it. What Evan Carmichael taught me is like pick one. Well, he wrote a book too. Pick one word, and I chose empowerment. I'd like you to talk about empowerment because you empower people all the time, and I just love your broadcasts. I haven't had much time to look at many of them lately because I'm so busy. But talk about empowerment for us, Christopher.
Sure, absolutely. And again, Stephen, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm really excited for this dive into life, because I see so many people who don't feel empowered. And I think that's sad. And they're disempowered because of one thing, the way they talk to themselves. Right. Mm-hmm. If people would start talking to themselves like they talk to their son or their daughter or their best friend or their loved one or whoever it might be, their sister, they should talk that way to themselves. And if we started talking a little bit better to ourselves and started having a belief, right? I sell these wristbands that say believe on them. And people ask me, why do you have believe on there? How did you pick that word believe? And I said, you have to believe that no matter what has happened in your life and whatever is happening in your life, it's all preparing you for what's next. And so we can decide, you and I can decide, everybody watching and listening can decide whether they're going to be a victim or they're going to be a victor. Right? If you're a victim, you tend to blame. Oh, I'm screwed up because of my parents. Oh, I'm messed up because of my job. Oh, this, I got bullied in school. Whatever excuse you want to put in there, hence why I'm called the No Excuses Coach. Any excuse you want to put in there can allow you that permission to feel disempowered or to not have that positive self-talk because you've reaffirmed your beliefs that you're not worthy. But once we start to shift that perspective, and that's what I do, is I help people shift their perspective about their past, present, and their future. You start to shift your perspective. You start taking imperfect action because so oftentimes we're waiting things to be just right. Oh, when I have all the information, when I have everything all set up, right? I started my business without an LLC. I didn't have an LLC for like 5 years. I put the bullet in the chamber and I fired the gun and I went. And that's why I teach people to be unstoppable, because once you start taking that progressive action, once you start believing in yourself, start seeing the evidence that no matter what it is that you do, you're learning and you're growing along that process, you start to feel empowered. You can't help it. It's like riding a bicycle. I just taught my son to ride a bicycle about a year ago, and he was so disempowered as negative. I'll never be able to do this. I can't balance. I suck at this, all this negative stuff. And we do that as kids. And if we don't have anybody outside of ourselves at those moments to say, hey, buddy, you figured out everything in your life so far, right? You figured out Minecraft, you figured out skateboard, yeah. And then you start getting them to say yes, you start seeing the possibility, right? If we have possibility in our life, is there a possibility that if I just do a little bit extra every single day, I might get stronger, I might get more confident, I might lower my focus on fears? When we start doing all these things, we start speaking better to ourselves and we start seeing that proof, like, oh my God, I got up at 5 o'clock the last 13 days out of 14, right? And one person will focus on that they screwed up and they missed the day and that they're a failure. And the other person will go, holy shit, what can I do if I did it for 28 days? What could I do if I did it for 4 months? Oh my God, what's possible in 365 days if I go to the gym 90% of the time? How different will my life be? How much different will I think and feel? And what will my results be? So to be empowered is a choice. To be empowered requires a lot of discipline. It requires letting go of people and negative beliefs, and it requires that imperfect action every day. And you can do it.
That's awesome. This is why I love listening to you. You definitely have the ability to speak well. I just got to say, Christopher.
Yeah, I love speaking on stages. I love speaking to people. It's when you do something that's from your heart. I mean, that's what I want to encourage people to do. So oftentimes people are doing things that they're not passionate about, and so therefore they procrastinate. But when you're doing shit that really lights you up, you're not going to procrastinate, and you're going to go out there and you're going to want to see the results. You want to look back over your life and see the hero's journey and go, oh my God, I remember the day I started my first radio show, which was in 2010. It was called the Kick-Ass Radio Show. It was live. It wasn't on video. And from 2010 to 2025, I've had a 5-year radio show. My podcast has been out there for 6 years. I've done 328 episodes. I've done another show called The Unfiltered Experience. I did another show called The Rainbows in Real Life. in all those
That's a lot.
times when I go back and look at those beginning videos, I started somewhere.
Yes.
Right? And
Well,
we have to start. So many people are waiting, and it's just
yeah,
there's no waiting.
that's the whole point. I mean, and that's what Evan Carr, because I studied under Evan. He really started me out. And he gave me a lot of good advice. And that's the whole thing. It's like, well, okay, so you do a video, and you can either, come up with all the excuses. I can't, I got to do this. I got to do that. You'll never get it done like that. You just need to do it. And like he says, you might even suck, but you know what? You don't suck because you did it. One step forward. And that's the beauty. You've got to take that step before anything happens, right?
Amen, brother. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is your if you had to encapsulate empowerment into 2 sentences, what would that look like for you?
Empowerment is, as I am a servant of the community, number one. As a servant of the community, I simply help people. And that is empowering.
Help people what?
There's so many different ways that you can look at it. Empowerment is taking action. I mean, words, not action. That's shorter, quicker. Empowerment is deciding I want something and then going after what you want. And that's what I've done. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm on TV, because, I decided, all right, I'm going to help the community. I'm going to do these videos. I mean, it started for me back in 2018. And I love the way that you flipped it so that you got me answering questions instead of you as well.
I mean, it's a natural. I try not to do it, but I tend to do it. Plus, it's a conversation. It's not an interview.
And right, it is. It's just a general, casual discussion. So what does success mean to you?
Freedom to be who I am and not have to be who I prescriptively can be in order to be successful. And that's what I learned early in life, honestly, Stephen. For those who don't know me or not familiar with me, my encapsulated story is that at 13, I became a homeless 7th grade dropout, lived in the backseat of a station wagon with 18 cats and 4 dogs and a mother that had various psychological disorders. All of that's coming out in my book. Later this year, I just talked to my publisher. It's called It's Just You and Me, Kid. It's a story of a mother and son's adventures being homeless on the streets of Southern California. And I went through a lot of stuff, and you can ask me any questions about that. I got to dark places. And ultimately I had to realize that the outcome of my actions, right? There's always consequences for our actions. We have to remember that. If I do this, this is going to happen. If I do that, that's going to happen. And we tend not to think about that. But I got to a point where I had a gun put to my head and the guy was going to pull the trigger. And I said, pull the effing trigger. I said, I'm done. And obviously he didn't, but it caused me to sit there and realize that the actions I was taking and the people that I was hanging out with and the things I was putting into my body, all my choices, irregardless of who I could blame, I'm going to wind up dead, or I'm going to wind up in jail, or I'm going to have to take responsibility for my life.
That's good. It's not the jails, institutions, and death. I know you probably heard that one. Because of course I was in that same boat. We have so much similarities in our stories. And I think that that's an important factor that people, our viewers, need to know is that everybody has a story. And when you make a transformation and change your life to start enjoying every day. Now, for me, I accepted the Lord. That's what I did. And that has been a long journey. But the thing is this, I'm not the guy in charge of the clock. That's the Lord's. That's not my timing. So I had to be patient. And when I made the transformation and I buried myself in the Lord, he starts revealing the answers to me. Do you find that same thing? Or, and I know that not everybody believes in the Lord. I get that. But I do believe at the minimum, we've got to have a higher power, right?
Yeah. About it. So I still want to finish answering the success question. I was telling a story before that. So success means, success means for me, success means for me that freedom to be who you naturally are, because in order to get out of that situation of being homeless and being a 7th grade dropout, I had to do a lot. I had to sacrifice a lot. Then I finally went and started school. I went and got my GED. I went and as scared as I was, I went and started my associate's degree program, graduated, got my bachelor's, and then I graduated. Then I went back and got my master's. So along that process, I found success for me initially was outward recognition, the praise. Hey, Chris, oh my God, you were a homeless 7th grade dropout. Now you're speaking on stages in front of thousands of people, getting paid a lot of money for those speeches, being successful in my corporate career, having a master's degree, being in leadership, traveling the world, all these different things. But then I got to a point where I realized it still didn't fix what was inside. It didn't fit. So for me, success is stopping, asking yourself some tough questions, being honest with yourself, and then going through the process of healing and finding forgiveness for things you did not do, people who harmed you or whatever it might be, and getting to a place of true centered focus of living in the moment versus living in the outcome. And so that is success for me. I've given a lot of stuff up. I've given a lot of stuff away. And now I find the best success for me is the fact that I have that freedom, personal freedom, financial freedom, spiritual freedom. And so dovetailing into your other question, about the Lord, I believe there's energy. I think everything is energy. I believe everything is energy. And I believe that we put too many labels on everything. And I had somebody tell me this years ago. I've got friends all over the world, different nationalities, different religions, different sexual orientations, trans, all the different stuff that everybody wants to put a flipping label on and call it something. Like, let's not call it something. Let's call it love. Let's call it energy. Right. Let's call it prosperity. Let's not segregate it into categories, because when we do that, we don't identify our similarities. We identify what is different. And so I believe God is love. I believe the Lord is love. And so I believe there's a bunch of hypocrites out there saying one thing and saying they believe and they follow this, but yet they're a hypocrite in the things that they say that they do. And so for me, organized anything really, like I don't even belong to the National Speakers Association. I was in Toastmasters for a while. Okay. Organized stuff I have to let other people enjoy and do my impact through my love and through connection. You got my mind spinning, right? Because it's like, first off, you talked about believe. That was what Evan Carmichael did. That's what he branded, was believe. I think we do all have to believe something in some thing, not someone, but mostly ourselves. We have to believe ourselves, right? First. Ourselves, right? Exactly. That's what. Yeah. Because when we, and see, I always go back to the big book, page 417. Acceptance is the answer to all my problems today. When I feel that there's a problem with a person, place, thing, or situation, I have to recognize it's not that person, place, or thing, or situation. It's me, And so when I get honest with me, I can move forward. Thank you for making that point for us, Christopher. Absolutely. So how does describe your lasting peace that you've gotten when you decided that life's okay and I'm okay? Lasting peace? Lasting peace. Well, lasting up until today, right now. I tell people, I get a lot of people telling me, they see me on my podcast, they see me on my videos and all that other stuff. And they say, well, Chris, it must be nice to be you. You're always so positive and you're always so energetic and you're always all this and you're always accomplishing. And I'm always honest with people. And I tell people very vulnerably, you see me for an hour every single week. You see me for here and there. You see my social media post. You don't see what I'm challenged with. You don't see that I have the same issues as everybody else does. I have negative self-talk. I have procrastination. I have excuses. But for me, rather than going down the rabbit hole for 6 weeks or 6 months and getting myself into a tizzy and all that other stuff, for me now, I have enough tools where it could take me about 6 hours. And part of that process, when I do go through challenging times, is to evaluate and analyze, okay, what's the root cause of this? Because so oftentimes, Stephen, we look at what the short-term things are. We look at the symptoms of stuff, right? And we don't look at the root of what it is actually is. We look at the symptom. Oh, I've got a cold. I've got diabetes. I've got this. I've got that. What's the root? You haven't dealt with your effing issues, and you're eating and you're taking on all this different stuff and the stress, and you're not dealing with it. So it's manifesting in the outcome in your health. Is that worth it? No. What can I do to change that? And so I think it's a matter of, like you just said, you talked about acceptance, and I teach people the AAA, not Auto Club. AAA is awareness, right? I got to be aware of what it is that I'm doing. I got to be honest with myself.
Right.
Then I have to accept it, whether it's, my fault or whatever it is. We always want to find fault. Whose fault is it? Who fucking cares? Like let's be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. And trying to find fault and blame and all other stuff is not going to do anything. So we have to have acceptance. It is what it is. 5 powerful words. It is what it is. My landlord's going to kick me out. It is what it is. I got a speeding ticket. It blows my mind, Stephen, that people complain about getting a speeding ticket when I ask them, were you speeding? And they said, yes. And I said, do you know what's wrong? And they said, yes. And they're still mad about getting a speeding ticket. I'm like, that's the consequence of doing what it is that you're doing. You have to pay the price. You're not going to get away. You might have gotten away with it 700 times before, but now you got to pay a $300 ticket. Why complain? Like, be grateful. Yeah. And that's what people aren't. They're not grateful. They focus on what it is that they don't have. And so the last thing on that AAA is action. So you have to be aware, you have to accept, and then you have to take action, which is responsibility. And so many people don't want to do that. They want the government to fix it. They want everybody else to fix it. They want to be in that misery state because misery is comfortable. And then they find other victims and miserable people, and then they get that validation. And then what happens? Ultimately, they wind up at the end of their life with a ton of regrets because they kept lying to themselves and they kept shooting themselves in the foot. So
so don't ask you that question. Do you have any regrets? Because you don't, right?
You know what? That's a really great question. I told you to ask me.
It's one of my questions. All right.
Regrets,
okay, so do you have regrets? And if you do have regrets, what are they? And why?
It's a great question. Are you asking me that because a lot of my social media posts say, okay, I'll wait until you're done talking. What?
All right. Do you have any regrets? And if you do, what are they? And why do you think you have them? So it's like threefold.
Okay. So yeah, a lot of my social media posts are #no regrets. So I didn't know if you would ask that because a lot of my social media posts are, but there's a great book out there called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And I just did a walk and talk video this morning where I challenged people. If you go and read that book, you will not be the same person when you're done. And I challenge people and I give people an opportunity on that. I'm not doing it right here, but if they went and read that book and told me about it, that I would give them an hour coaching free, because people generally will not do what's uncomfortable. And so when you think about regrets, I think about the regrets, The 5 Regrets of the Dying, which is a famous book. The number one regret, Stephen, was that people lived the life they thought they were supposed to live, not the life they wanted to live.
Right.
And so in terms of my life, in terms of regrets, no, I think about that. What I do is I proactively put myself in the future and think, will I regret what it is that I'm doing or not doing right now later? So for example,
really
I used to
plan. That's really good. Because a lot of people,
I was going to finish that answer.
Oh, we'll go right ahead.
So in terms of proactively, in terms of proactively finding out if you have a regret, you have to put yourself in the future. Like, will I regret having the excuse that I don't have time to take care of myself now? Will I regret putting crappy stuff into my body, hoping, wishing, and praying that somehow I'm going to lose weight and feel better or get off my medications? But if you put yourself, in 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, and you put yourself in a doctor's office and you imagine that doctor telling you, I'm sorry to tell you that you have pancreatic cancer. I'm sorry to tell you you have colon cancer. I'm sorry to tell you you have this. And then immediately, what do people do? They think, oh my God, I should have taken better care of myself. That becomes a regret. So I proactively put myself in the future and think, will I regret this action that I'm taking right now later on in my life? And so I used to drink Jack Daniels like it was Kool-Aid. And I was really good at it. Alcohol served me well throughout my life. But then I got to a point in 2023 where signs started showing up. And I watch a lot of podcasts. I'm a very intrigued learner. And so I watch YouTube and I watch, long form podcasts and on my YouTube videos. Watched on the long-term videos, a couple of titles came up and said what alcohol does to your body. And one of them was Dr. Andrew Huberman, who is somebody that I follow. And so he talked about the formaldehyde stuff that happens with the alcohol. And so I decided the next day to quit drinking all alcohol for an entire year. And I've done 3 in 23. So I decided that because I looked forward in my life and I thought, even though I'm healthy now, even though my liver enzymes and my kidneys and everything else, I get my blood test done, used to be 4 times a year. Now I get it twice a year. It was not a problem, but I saw myself in 10, 15 years. I'm 56 now, at that time I was 54. can I imagine myself sitting in a doctor's office saying, hey, by the way, your liver took a fucking turn and now you've got liver cancer or whatever, you need a liver transplant. If I heard those words, then would immediately right now I want to take that drink? Because there's a consequence. Right. And so I decided to quit drinking for a year. I'd never done it that long. I quit drinking for a year. Now I don't even drink hard alcohol anymore. I'll have a beer occasionally, but I used to be, the quintessential party animal. And again, I didn't want to have that regret later on in my life. So do I have regrets now? No, because I believe that irregardless if something happened or didn't happen, all of it was meant to get me to this moment right here to talk to you.
Excellent. And I totally agree with that. I do want to go to this question. Robert, our good friend, Robert Rooker, Canadian fellow for me.
What's up? I know Robert watches my show all the time. He's on there every single week. Bonnie Ware. Actually, I used to keep it behind me, and I think I gave it away to somebody. I used to keep. That is so weird. Yeah, I used to keep it right behind me. It's I think it's Bonnie Ware. Yeah, I couldn't even there's some points where I had to stop because that book she described somebody basically who got trapped inside their body. They had Lou Gehrig's disease. And she was describing what this person was going through. And I was just like, oh my God. Or just the fact of regrets at all. I mean, if you're taking action and you're living your dream and you have your purpose and you have your mission, which is why I advise people to write their eulogy. Like when you think about how you want to be remembered at your funeral and you start living backwards from that and you let go of all the stuff that's not important, it's pretty incredible what you can do with your life.
Now you talk about that in the video that I watched like last night. You talked about, you wrote your eulogy, and I've heard you speak of this in the past. Why do you think it is healthy to write your eulogy?
Because I did it and it changed my perspective, and I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of coaching clients over the years write it because it's difficult and it's challenging. And if you do something that's hard, and you really truly realize that we're all dying. We could die tomorrow. We could die 10 minutes from now. We could die 10, 15 years now. I think about it now. I'm 56 with an 8-year-old. I do the math all the time. And so now it's about
to die.
What?
Born to die.
Yeah. I mean, you were born to live, we're going to
slowly born to live, but we are also born and we will die. Yeah. That's something I came up with.
I forgot.
Not as positive as the way you put it, though. See, that's where you need to mentor me, right? Okay, so you felt that writing your eulogy got you out of yourself, and you felt that it's important to tell others about how to treat you or how to respect you, or
not about anybody else but me. It's not about anybody else but me. It's creating a vision of who you are becoming so that now when you take those actions, your values are aligned with who that person's becoming. And that you're not, I hope when I win the lottery or when it's like when you truly have clarity and meaning for purpose. And when I wrote my eulogy, I hand wrote it. And ultimately when I read it back, it said, Christopher Rausch will fought for what's right and what's fair. He will have risked fortune that mattered, and he will left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. And in that moment in 2008, I had clarity about who I was becoming, and the things that weren't in there made me realize that they're not that important. And when I realized that they're not that important, they were all about external validation. It was all about getting some sort of external reward. But I've had the privilege of coaching millionaires, billionaires, actors, actresses, musicians. I've coached a lot of successful people who make a lot of money and have a lot of impact. And every single one of them, Stephen, you talk about regrets. I said, what would you go back and tell your younger self about money and fame that you didn't realize back then?
I love you so much.
Every single one of them said, and I think Will Smith said something like this, but it says, I wish everybody could be, or I think it was Jim Carrey. I wish everybody could be successful, financially successful, and have fame to realize that it's not going to solve your problems. And I just saw somebody else who was famous yesterday talk about that very thing.
Right.
Talk about that very thing. So when you have a eulogy, you have meaning and purpose and passion that will help you go through those tough times and go through those sacrifices and think of something bigger, because so oftentimes we get caught up in surviving. We get caught up in tomorrow. We get caught up in someday, like someday when this is perfect, and someday. And that's where you get regrets, because there is no someday. There's today.
There is only today. this moment right now. That's all we really truly have. That's why making the most, I think, of this moment is the most important factor in anybody's life, but certainly mine. And you kind of like answered my question about the eulogy, because it sounded like maybe some as if in some cases, this is what I see myself as, and then you're working towards achieving all of those goals that you have. And so it's almost like a game plan of this is the way I want to be remembered. That's really awesome. Yeah. That's very,
it's like
very
it's
cool.
like anything else. Just think with the end in mind and work backwards. So people tell me, I want to start a business, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, so what happens right before you get it? Like, what happens? Well, I ace the interview. Okay. So what do you do to need to ace the interview? I need to get the interview. Okay. So what do you need to do to get the interview? Well, I need to apply. No, because everybody's applying. It's not working anymore. You have to be creative. You have to be out. I teach people outside the box marketing. So like, okay, how can you be creative and get yourself in front of the right people to be able to get that job? Okay, I guess I would have to start brainstorming. I said, you probably have to brainstorm and probably also maybe hire a career coach. Okay. And you just start working backwards, you re-engineer it, and then you come up with a starting plan, and then you go for it. And you see the vision of what it is that you want to do. And you ask yourself, why is this so important to me? What's the impact of what it is that I'm going to be doing? It's going to make me a better father. It's going to make me more financial stable to take care of my family. It's going to leave a mark on this world because I'm afraid that I'm going to die with my music inside of me. So when we have that clarity, we have that vision, we have that purpose, we can ask ourselves, do our values align with the people in my life? Are the people in my life saying, yeah, Stephen, start the podcast. Yeah, Stephen, go out there and do these things. Or are they saying, no, you should play it safe and that's ridiculous, and there's already so many podcasts out there? You got to get rid of the dead weight in your life, ladies and gentlemen. And then when you do that and you get around people who are doing the thing that you want to do, it naturally happens.
Yes. And I love the way that we think very similarly about life in general, and what to do with life to make it better. Am I totally surprised? No, because that's the kind of people I put around me is people like yourself, right? And so when you put people like yourself around, naturally, yes, I say the same things and think the same ways, and that's what's powerful, truly. So how does community play into this whole thing?
It's a great question. Yeah, community is super important. Again, it's about the people you surround yourself with. And one of the exercises I have my coaching clients do is take out a pen and paper. I'm a big fan. You can get these notepads from Amazon. I get big ones, small ones. I'm always got pen and paper around. And you write down the 5 people you're around the most. And you start taking a look at that. And you think about, who is my community? I ask people, who's your team? And I'm like, what do you mean your team? I don't have a team. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm like, no, you need a team. Somebody you trust, somebody who empowers you, somebody who holds you accountable, and somebody who mentors you. And it can't be the same person. So we need key people in our life. We need a community. I tell people to have a board of directors. So like, I personally have a board of directors. I've got Jock, I've got Scott, I've got Lee, I've got Mary, I've got a ton of people. Well, actually not a ton. I've got less than 10. But I got Dr. Linda. I've got specific people in my life who are experts at certain things. So that I know if I'm in a spiritual situation, I can talk to Lee. I can talk to Scott. If I'm having another situation, I could talk to Jock. If I'm out in a business situation, I need a logical mind, I could talk to Walt. And so I have a board of directors for me, that's my community. But then also I have my community relationships. I got my most important relationships are my wife and my son. And then I have my close circle of friends. And then I go out into my inner community and I work with homelessness and at-risk kids. And I go to my city council meetings and I interact with my neighbors. Actually, right after this, I'm going downstairs outside and my neighbors' kids are going to come out and we're going to play. So it's about community here. One of the biggest defining factors in longevity and happiness in life, Stephen, I've found out, is not money, success, fame, or any health. It all ties down to the relationships that we have. And I will admit, I have not been the best at personal one-on-one relationships most of my life because I've always been, driven and successful. And now as I've gotten older, my friends have changed because based on what it is that they've been doing in their life, it just doesn't resonate anymore. So now I need to do a better job of being proactive into my community, maybe go and join a pickleball game, go do something with complete strangers, maybe go on an open mic night and just sit there and be around other musicians. We have to do that. We can't live in isolation because social media is BS. We think we're around people, and I'm around a ton of people on these things, but you need people in your life to physically hold and touch and laugh and hug and experience laughter and go to concerts. I go to concerts with my friends. That's my big thing. Go to concerts, or we go out and play darts or axe throwing or miniature golf or whatever it might be. We go out and do stuff. So community is massively important.
Yeah, that's such great advice, Christopher. Such great advice. Because we do need to get active. We do need to get up off that couch. Whoever's sitting on that couch, get off the couch. Put the beer down.
This thing down.
Come on, let's go.
Put this thing down. People in there. Oh, my thumb is sore. My neck is sore. Like, we'll stop flipping doing it.
Looking like this.
It's so hard, Chris. It's so hard to put down. No, it's not. You sit there and you go like this. You open your fingers and you put it down. It's not hard. It's not hard. People tell themselves that everything's hard. You talk about excuses. Oh, it's hard, Chris. Yeah, it's hard. Losing weight's hard. Getting in shape's hard. Eating right is hard. All those different things. If you think it's going to be hard, then it's going to be hard. But if it's exciting and it's a journey, then it's no longer hard. It's an exploration. It's a discovery, like when we're kids. And if we get excited about the discovery of improving our life, then the hard is worth it. Because I'll tell people this emphatically. I want everybody watching and listening to this, think about this. Ask themselves this question. When in my life have I learned and grown the most? Stop. When things were great or when things were hard? And everybody will admit that when things were hard, I grew the most. When I went through that dark time, on the other side of it, I was stronger. I had different people. I had all this different thing. I had a different perspective. And so, although we don't want to go back and repeat those experiences, and I've had tons of tough experiences, but I look at it and I'm thankful for each one of them, because each lesson I chose to learn and has helped me become a better person, a better father, a better humanitarian. So I'm thankful for all the hard times. So when hard times happen now, I look at it with a sense of curiosity and I ask myself, what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn from this? And I still have issues all the time, Stephen. I'm not perfect. What am I supposed to learn from this?
That's really genuine of you to admit that you still have problems, because this is what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing is that people are going, oh yeah, you got this great life and you're doing all this stuff and you've made all this money and you are so successful. And then really it's because they feel like they're not meeting that and they want that. And then now they're feeling bad. And so I know that we are an environment of what we think. Period.
Yes.
It is all about the thinking. And so it's really important, what I found, and having people like yourself, learning from that and just wanting to learn, taking action. I said action, not words, is super important. I love the way that this is going.
Action, not words.
Dude, it's action, not words.
You're a Def Leppard fan, Stephen?
Oh yeah, sure.
Action,
I like rock and roll.
Action, not words. I think it's Pyromania. See, I know stuff like that.
Let me tell you where I got that from. I've been in the healthcare industry for well over 40 years, because I'm still in the healthcare industry.
The health con industry.
And so the bottom line is I did a lot of trade shows. So in the trade show circuit with the healthcare company, we were a manufacturer of records management systems. Anyways, I did a lot of trade shows. Somebody had that saying on their shirt, action, not words. Man, I just grabbed it. I was like, that just makes so much sense. And I knew all this stuff and I learned all this stuff and I was really blessed to learn so much. But you know what? It took me 40 years or better to finally get to the point where I was ready to do something about it. And
why do you suppose that was?
I know who that was.
No, why do you suppose it was? It wasn't until that moment that you decided to change.
It's a very good question, Christopher. Why? I'm just going to revert back to the 1,000+ meetings that I had. I mean, I studied the big book. I'll go with a big book answer of this. And it was because I did get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to create a legacy for my children who won't talk to me to this day. This day. Well, because, I made poor choices. I did. And, so they hate me for those poor choices. Well, that's in the end, I feel badly about that, but guess what? That doesn't keep me awake at night. I don't worry about that because I've turned that part over. And I can't make anybody do anything. They have to do it for themselves. I can give them ideas and I can say, look, I'm not doing the same things I used to do. But so it all comes from subconscious, from these programs that we got in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of working through those programs to retrain the subconscious thinking to the ideal person that we want to be. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm not that far off.
My longest answer tonight.
I got a little bit of a
I'm trying to mix it up a little bit.
Okay, I'll tell you what, folks. We will be right back. Let's just go and acknowledge it's my sponsor, but it's our family business, and we love them. Okay, so yeah, let's hear from them.
We let our bathtub go too long. It had rust in it. It had deep pitting in it. There were chips. I, quite frankly, thought it was unrepairable.
Total Coatings is a family-owned and operated bathtub and shower refinishing company. We've been around since 2006, but we use a exclusive non-toxic porcelain coating that was developed over 60 years ago by a franchise in California. So the product is very well established. We refinish bathtubs, showers, wall tile, countertops, and even sinks. Customers want to know what makes our product different, and that's, of course, the exclusive non-toxic porcelain. We also don't acid etch the surface, so you don't have to leave your home because of noxious fumes.
I was completely and utterly shocked. It looked like a brand new bathtub. I would recommend Total Coatings to anybody.
Awesome.
Awesome. I was just interacting with people on the video cast in the comments section.
Huh?
So I was just interacting with the people that are watching the video cast on the comments section.
Yeah, I think he brought some definite viewers on for us, and I really appreciate that too.
No worries. And this is, I can't remember, Stephen, does this go to podcast? Like it's, you said it's on Apple Podcasts, right?
It's a matter of terms. I call it a broadcast because I'm broadcasting to a lot of people. And what it truly is, and what is most important to me, do I do social media? Yeah. Would I start with social media? Yeah. All right. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel, LinkedIn. I do have X. I don't do anything with it. I have Rumble. I have several different platforms, but then I have E360 TV. And so we are streaming to Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple, and Android TV. And you can find me under the positive vibration setting on E360 TV. So if you go to one of those, you got the big screen, go to download E360 TV, find me in the positive vibration, Stephen Smith, the Get to Know broadcast. We're right there. That's the real deal for me because I don't have to worry about what is said or who I offended because, it's all fair game. And particularly with like Rumble, fair game. But I love the Facebook and the YouTube and Instagram viewers, and I love everybody. And you started with that, though. I do want to come back in a minute and ask you about what advice you'd give to us. But I want our viewers to know how much I really do care because, like Christopher said, we are love. I am love. You are love. You're okay. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's okay. I wouldn't suggest it unless you want to really enjoy your misery, right? Because I did for a long time. But if you don't want to enjoy your misery, then you can change your life, right?
Yes.
All right. So I want you to give us your most valuable information. What are you going to tell these viewers? You're going to leave them with a nugget and you're going to say, you need this. What is that?
No excuses, just results.
Wow, you see, you summed it up, and was the
no excuses, just results. I have worked on that for many years. When people ask me, "What do you do?" and I help people ditch their excuses in favor of results. So, I mean, what's my advice?
I love that.
I've said so much tonight. I think if I was to tell somebody something specific to do that is really a game changer, that is quote unquote hard. I call mistakes, I call them learning opportunities, and I call what's hard courageous. Right. So when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. That's what Dr. Wayne Dyer said. And so for me, that's when we start looking at it. How would a winner look at this situation? How would somebody with the solution look at the situation? I ask people, what if that weren't true? You know, my mom did this to me. My mom did it, blah, 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 blah. Oh, my mom. Okay, what if that weren't true? Mm-hmm. Well, then I wouldn't have all these reasons to be a victim. Okay. Mm-hmm. So is it serving you? Is it serving your greater good to be a victim? Is it serving your highest power? Are you loving yourself the most so you can love other people even better? Right. So for me, the thing that people need to do is they need to look at what they're tolerating. So I have all my coaching clients do this. When you do it right, it's exhausting, but you look at what you're tolerating from yourself, right? What do I tolerate from myself? I make promises that I don't keep. Okay. Right. How would my life be different if I kept my effing promises? My life would be different. Okay. Can I keep my promises? Yes or no? Sort of. No, there's no sort of. It's yes or no. You either do it or you don't. There is no try. You don't, I'm going to try to keep my promises to myself. That is idiotic. That is moronic. Like, stop it. Like, seriously, stop it. Just sit there and say, I'm going to do this. I have decided that I am of sound mind and body, and that I have the opportunity and the wherewithal to change my life right now. And so what am I tolerating for myself? Number one. Number two, what am I tolerating from other people? Right. This is a big one, because people are doormats. People are people pleasers. And when they stop doing that, what would it look like if you weren't a people pleaser anymore? I was just talking to a new coaching client the other day. And so what would it look like if you were no longer a people pleaser? She goes, I'd have so much more time and energy. And I said, and what would you do with that time and energy, Crystal? I would do this, and I would do this, and I would do this. And I'm like, you should go back and watch the replay of the Zoom call, because your face just lit up. I haven't seen your face light up in 2 sessions. I said, you things you would do. There's a possibility, but you got to look at what you're tolerating from other people. Number 3, you have to look at what you're tolerating from inanimate objects. Like I just had a situation the other day. I've been tolerating the fact that my air filter purifier that I keep near my cat box, it's all in the laundry room, so I filter the air. Okay. I have been tolerating the fact that thing hasn't worked in like 3 months. And I have not wanted to take it outside and take it apart and clean it and all these different things. So I tolerated this from this inanimate object. And all I did the other day was I said, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. And I unplugged it and I walked outside and I spent 30 minutes taking it apart and cleaning it. And then I put it back in there, and guess what? And now when I walk in my laundry room, it smells nice and it's filtering the air. So what I'm tolerating from inanimate objects and things, they're challenging. And so I tell people, like, pick the one. Which one out of all 3 categories, which one by which doing so will offer you the most time, the most money, the most freedom, the most peace, the most results? What will that do? And so people need to focus on taking that responsibility and going back to, again, that awareness, that acceptance, that actions. And when they do that, their life will change. But it's about receptivity. It's about timing. Like you said before, you said, oh, when I got to this point, then I changed. And so my job is to inspire people to think differently about now and their consequences of their actions, or also to say this, that sometimes it's just not meant to happen right now. Maybe you haven't hit bottom. And unfortunately, Stephen, you know this, a lot of people have to hit bottom before they change. And that's been one of the biggest things people ask me sometimes. They say, as a motivational speaker and a coach, you know, knowing all these things about positivity and everything else, say, what's the most challenging aspect of that in your life? And I'm like, immediately it's seeing people I love continue with the negative self-talk, to continue watching the news, to continue following politics, to continue killing themselves with their stress and their cortisol. And no matter what I say or do, nothing can change that. And so I have to realize that that's their journey. I was a news junkie. I was a political junkie until I realized that I was just yelling at a fucking TV all the time, not doing anything, and complaining to my friends about the shit that I wasn't doing nothing about. And instead I decided that I would stop watching the news and stop following politics and go out there and make the world a better place. Because again, that's what my eulogy said. That's what my mission says. That's what my passion says. It doesn't say they're to bitch and piss and moan at the TV. It doesn't say, oh, Christopher Rausch spent every day 3 hours mad about things he couldn't control. He went out there and did something about it. Right. And so that's what it is. Even it's about taking that responsibility and that ownership. But people like to live in their victimhood.
Yeah, I did for a long time, and I was everything that you just talked about. I did all of that. And being able to be honest and authentic and sharing that with our viewers is incredible to me. And that's the difference, I think, between ourselves and some other people that are willing to go, oh, I'm this because I was that too. Well, growing up in Southern California, what would you expect? Anything less than being two-faced and I'm this and I'm that and I gotta have this and I gotta have that to be somebody. But it doesn't matter about what we do or don't have, does it? It
Mhm.
matters about what we got in here in our heart, right? And when you
Amen.
love yourself, you love yourself because we're all entitled to be loved. God loves us. He does. And so don't say, oh, nobody loves me, because God does. Number one. And I do, and you do. And so we got to start beating ourselves up for the stupid stuff we learned and recognize that life is okay just the way it is. And do I make mistakes? And do I even think about some of the stupid stuff I've done before today? Yeah, I do. But I'm like you. You
Do you
said I
regret
don't
it?
say, huh?
Do you regret those things you did?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Even
No.
causing you
No,
the disconnection from your kids?
no. Do I feel disappointed about it? Yeah.
Mm.
Do
How
I
many
have
kids do you
regret
have?
over it? No, because that was me so that I could be here talking to you, right?
Exactly. How many kids do you have, Stephen?
So no, I don't have those regrets anymore.
I'm
But
not
I
sure you're
had
hearing me.
all that
How
stuff.
many kids do you have? I'm not sure you're hearing me.
I have 3 children. I have my oldest is Megan, and I have Tyler. He's my middle. Well, he's Steven Tyler. That's a great rock and roll name.
Oh yeah, Aerosmith.
And so I gave him my first name, and then Sean are my 3 kids, and then my oldest has 3 grandchildren already. I have 3 grandchildren from her, Megan, and I love them dearly. And th-
Have you met them?
oh, have I what?
Have you met your grandkids?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Oh
you said you were
yeah.
disconnected, so I wasn't sure.
Oh yes, I definitely met my grandkids. As a matter of fact, I'm making strides now to be able to speak to them more often and let them know that I am in their life, that I am caring about them, because they are the future. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
getting older, so I'm going to leave my legacy. You're leaving your legacy, and the hundreds of videos that I've done. I mean, hundreds. Probably 1,000 already total, but it doesn't matter. Hopefully my children will recognize, you know what? I'm sorry. I am. And I just want them to be happy. Period. And when they're happy, then I'll be happier.
There you go.
Right?
Well, good. I'm glad things are taking form.
Yeah. I feel like I'm the patient on the couch here.
Thank you, Nellie.
Will.
Nellie was saying, Chris, you're the king of no excuses, and my favorite platform, no excuses, just results. Thank you, Nellie. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody
Yeah,
who's
there
been
you go.
here supporting the broadcast. Nasangel, thank you for being here. Tamika. All you guys are beautiful. And the people that are going to watch it on replay and everybody's watching on 360, thank you. I want them to check out my podcast, rawandunscripted.com. It's in 39 countries. We've been going for 6 years, all about mindset, motivation, inspiration, and no excuses, just results.
No excuses, exactly, because that's, you are a seasoned pro, so I didn't even have to ask half the questions because you answered them.
I've probably been interviewed like, I don't know, 700 something times.
Oh God, great.
I stopped counting. Yeah. But no, it's been a pleasure. I love the questions that you're asking. And I truly hope that my value here today has impacted people to think a little bit differently. Yeah. That's what it's about. Think a little bit differently, do a little bit differently, be a little bit differently, and just own who you are.
Yeah. So let's do this, because I can do them. I do see Hooked on Humanity, and that's really awesome. And what a great show. And God, you're welcome. Thank you. Definitely, Christopher, for being here. You are the king of no excuses. You said that. We love Robert Rucker, our Canadian from the Great White Earth. We love Robert.
Rush. Dun, 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 dun.
We love you too, brother. Okay, and let me see if I can pronounce Nils Angel. Nils Angel.
Nisangel, I think it is.
Nils Angel.
Nisangel.
Carry on. You are awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I do believe that Tamika was here too as well. We love Tamika. She is a volunteer with the LWN. We do have a show coming up very soon, 2 weeks from now, with her. Monday, I've got Tim Blake. Yes, I think Tim Blake.
That's
So
my
yeah,
middle name.
join
How
us.
funny.
Hmm?
My middle name is Blake.
And we got
Christopher
things
Blake
in
Rausch.
common too.
Yeah, how about that?
So awesome. So we appreciate the viewer. We have run out of time. We love you. Come back. Definitely look up Christopher. Okay, he's got a lot of great stuff going on, and just ask us. We're here for you. We love you. Okay, everybody,
Thank
be
you
well.
so much, Stephen.
Be blessed. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, we are done for tonight. See you soon.
Cheers.